Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting the good fight of faith and truth, in sincerity and wholeheartedly. And shalom to the Akwath, which is the women believers. Shalom to you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is so much. And as long as the Lord have mercy upon me, I understand the scripture more and more each day. Because here's the thing. Life is still going on. All the prophets, and I'm talking about the prophets of Great Millstone, the men of the Lord, they've been prophesying, talk about our apostles, for decades. The elders, 2 decades. The bishops, 3 decades. All right. So you've been hearing the same story, the same prophecies for years, if you've been in this truth or been a believer for years. So you've been hearing these things, and you can get desensitized to the things that you hear. But you have to understand that when these things do come to pass and we at that time, you are not going to be saying, oh, it's about time, because shit, they've been saying it's going, like, it's going to be real. And if you're a person that is a scoffer on the low, then yeah, you're going to be caught up in these things and you didn't prepare yourself. You watch videos as entertainment and here you go again, talking about this, that, the mark of the beast, Jacob's trouble and World War III. Here we go. So I understand this scripture because you think we don't want the kingdom of heaven? Every year we hasten for the Lord to come. Every year our talking points, this may be the year, this may be the year. But see, what's very, very important to understand in this scripture, that you enter not into temptation, because life still goes on, which made me think it is. This is the main reason why we have scoffers. So it said, knowing this first, that there should come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. So life goes on. One major event can happen on a Monday and back to a regular scheduled programming Tuesday. All right. Something big in prophecy can happen. But then, life still goes on. So that's what it means not to fall into temptation. And that's why in the scripture it said, watch and pray. See, if you don't know what's going on, then you can lose hope. We watching. That's why we're able to go into the news and show you what's going on in the world and filter it through the news. Filter it through the scriptures. So these things are happening. And as the Lord said, when you see these signs, know that your salvation is near, even at the door. So falling not into temptation is easy to do, to fall into temptation. Because this is why Yahweh Shah said this. Like, there's so much stuff still going on. You still have a lot of distraction. So it says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. The light of the body is therefore, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye be single, your whole body should be full of light. You got to keep the main thing. And you have to be able to be balanced. Because the scriptures even talking about being over righteous. You got to have, you got to separate. But what is your primary focus? You got to keep the main thing. So But if your eye be evil, your whole body should be full of darkness. Because what makes your eye evil is when you're not single eye. When you into this and you into that. Because the scriptures talks about, using the world, not as abusing it. So you're abusing the world. So you in everything. You got people who watch the videos just to watch it for a form of entertainment. Then you might even have people who watch Great Millstone. You have somebody, and the same person, after they watch a Great Millstone video, they go watch an IUIC video. And after they go watch an IUIC video, they go watch an ISUPK video. So they just all over the place. So you just confused. So keeping the main thing, that's what it means by keeping your eyes single. Watching and praying. Yahweh Shai gave the best advice. Okay? If you watch and pray, you won't enter into temptation because you're seeing what's going on. The scripture says where there is no vision, the people perish. Because I always say this and I marvel at this, because I talk to people and I just mention some things because I don't really go into, this to people. You don't cast your pearls before swine. And the spirit, we're spiritual people. You know who you can talk to a little bit and who you cannot. So anyways, I say a couple things and I just mention some type of news. And they be like, what? When you hear that? I ain't hear nothing about that. So our whole algorithm is different. I always mention that. The ones who are into this thing, are the things that pop up on our TikTok, the things that pop up on our YouTube. All right. It's different than everybody else's. It's a whole bunch of folly on everybody else's. It's a whole bunch of entertainment, funny videos, music, on sports, on other people's algorithms. But yeah, so when you're not watching and praying, you will fall into temptation. Because if you're not watching, right, you just sitting back, depending, and there's nothing wrong with this though, but you're depending on the prophets to let you know every single detail. But you have to do your due diligence too. One thing that I respect about Apostle Tahar, he always say, don't take what I say, go look it up for yourself. Because you have to be persuaded in your own mind. Because you could watch a prophet every day and there's nothing wrong with that. You're supposed to, actually, if you're a believer. But you have to be persuaded in your own mind. So anyways, so you could pray all you want to, but it would get, how can I put it? Watch it and praying go together. That's what I'm going to say. Just praying is not enough because you could still lose hope. We are chastened of the Lord that we don't be judged with the world. It's a whole different ball game when you chasten of the number one spirit in all the universe. Okay. Then you have number two, Yahweh Shai, which the Lord have given all judgment unto his son, John 5:22 and 23. But he comes in the stead of his father. So the ultimate is Yahweh, But anyways, the point is that you go through things. And just because you pray, that don't mean that the Lord is going to shortcut it or he's going to stop it. He'll give you the strength to get through it. But sometimes, that's the parable of the sower seed, you can get offended. You can feel like you're not loved. You can feel like, oh, this is some bullshit. This is unfair. The scripture said, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you. So you can get offended. So just praying is not enough. Because Yahweh Shai would have said, pray that you enter not into temptation. He said, watch and pray. So you have to know what's going on. The scripture says that a wise man discerneth both times and judgment. Ecclesiastes 8:5. So I think about that all the time when it comes to, this scripture right here. And, by applying what Yahweh Shai said And this is before that he was about to go in to his greatest temptation. He was about to get hung on a cross. Okay? So this basically was his last message to the disciples. So we are fighting for a crown. So when you watching, that means that you in the know. You know what time that we are in. The scriptures even said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. That's 2nd Esdras 9:1. Romans 13:11 is now high time to wake out of sleep, for your salvation is nearer than what we believe, than what you believe. Because guess what? If you are watching, you know how close we are. Everything is literally put in place. Jacob's trouble, that's already put in place. We in the beginning stages of that. Right now, it's the attack of the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Latinos. The MOTB, everything is going artificial intelligence. All right, that infrastructure been, ready. And guess what? World War III, that's happening. It's always rumors of wars every day. And Yahweh Shah said that, hey, that's part of the sign of his coming. So hopefully this is received. I'm just going in the spirit. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive a crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. So there is a reward. But you have to do the protocols that you do not fall into temptation, man. So you have to watch, you have to pray. They go together. You have to know what time we in. You have to understand what you are a part of. And you also got to understand the will of the Lord. And the will of the Lord is to destroy this kingdom and to set up his kingdom. And within the destroying of this kingdom, we know how it's going to end, by fire. These missiles going to get shut off. But before that, all hell is going to be breaking loose. So you have to gird up your mind. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. It said, now, therefore, set your house in order. Your house is you. Okay? This house, this flesh inhabits, all right? It houses your spirit. If you are able to set your house in order, and I believe that it's going to be so easy when all hell breaks loose, then people going to want to get in subjection. Then people going to be wanting to ask questions and what we going to do? All right? So it says, and reprove your people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Most people don't even know that they are in trouble. They don't even understand that you behind enemy lines. You are in Esau, Edom's kingdom, your number one enemy. He took the chains off, which that's the only reason that the chains even came off, for prophecy to be fulfilled. The Lord basically turned down the fire in Esau's spirit for his word to be fulfilled. Now he's about to turn it up. See, people think because he ain't got chains around you, you ain't in hardcore slavery, you think that this devil like you. No. Prophecy had to be fulfilled. I always say this. We on the highways and byways preaching, right? Telling this devil what's going to happen to him. Just back in the 50s and 60s, you would get hung on a tree. You would have a group of white men chasing you, trying to lynch you. So yeah, it's not that long ago. But the Lord turned down that fire. He's about to turn it back up. It's called Jacob's trouble. So let go from you mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, which is this flesh, that you fall not into temptation. Set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee. And I always say this when I read the scripture. What if this? What if that? It ain't about what if. It's about what is. Okay? Do you believe or not? The scripture says, woe unto them that are faint-hearted, for they believe of not, therefore they would not be defended. So you got to get that doubt out your heart. The Lord, that's disrespectful. That's a smack in the face. You dealing with the power that create life and death, evil and good. And you scared of a man that should die? Talk about Esau, Edom. All right? So it says, and haste thee to flee from these times. So going back, if you endure temptation, you will receive a crown of life. All right. And then in Revelation 3:10, what it says, since you have kept the words of my patience, I will also keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them. All right. So I'm going to end it on this, and hopefully this was received. For surely there is an end, and your expectation should not be cut off. So knowing that there is an end, that's why you got to watch and pray and keep your eyes single, man. You got to stay on the course. Whatever is separating you from, doing whatever you need to do for the Lord more, you got to cut it off, because guess what? It's not going to profit you anything. It's going to cause the Lord to give you the evil eye. So all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, which I hope to be. Seek ye out the Lord while he may be found, and Shalom.